Let's talk a little bit about Prop 19.
Yeah, so a lot of my clients have been asking about Prop 19 and what changes will be coming in February and April and how that affects them. So we wanted to bring you, Jesse Lipscomb in, who is an enrolled agent and an expert in this department to help get a clear understanding of what people can expect from Prop 19.
All right, cool. Jesse Lipscomb, I'm an enrolled agent, investment advisor, used to be on the Moneymakers radio show on 760, all good stuff. We're talking today about Prop 19 in its basic form. Prop 19 replaces Prop 60 and 90 for people that are 55 years or older for their main home. The rules changes are actually better for homeowners. And what I mean by that is you now can transfer your primary residence anywhere in California. Previously, it was only 10 counties. And instead of just being able to downsize, now you can actually upsize. Now, to understand that, let's take a look at the following example. You buy your house in the 70s for 50 grand. Prop 13 is going to keep your property base super low. 30 years later, maybe you're paying property taxes on $100,000, right? Super low. That same house might be worth $700,000. So under Prop 60, previously, if you bought a property that was $700,000 or less, you could transfer the basis. And there were, in the year of the sale, a 5% bonus or a 10% bonus. So technically, you could go up to 735 or even 770 within 2 years. But basically, you were downsizing. If let's say you went from a $700,000 home to a $1.2 million home, under Prop 60, you were just out of luck, okay? Now, with Prop 19, it's actually pretty nice. If you downsize, it works exactly like Prop 60 did, same value or less. But if you upside, you're only going to be assessed taxes on the difference of sales prices. So, for example, you bought it for 50, you're only paying taxes, Prop 13, on 100. You sell your house for $700,000 and you replace it with one for 1.2 million, you're only going to pay additional taxes on that difference of $500,000. So I mean, that's a huge that keeps your taxes $600,000 lower than they would have been, an assessed value. So this is a really cool thing, and it's great. 55 years or older, you can now do this up to 3 times. Wonderful. Okay. These same rules also apply to you if you're disabled and or in a declared wildfire or disaster area. And you can do it up to 3 times. That's pretty neat.
So instead of 1, now it's 3.
Yeah, man. And the other thing is, and this is what kind of gets people into trouble, is that the April 1st implementation date. And when I say getting into trouble, it's just that there's a lack of guidance. People just don't know. Like, we don't know from the Board of Equalization. They don't really know from our state legislators as to if you sold your house today and you bought a replacement tomorrow, would that be covered? Now, my personal opinion is no, it wouldn't, because it's not April 1st yet, right? But the interesting thing is you have 2 years to transfer the basis.
So question, Jesse, so does that mean if somebody sells their property prior to April 1st, do they have to sell their property after April 1st to start to qualify for this, or do they have to transfer their basis after April 1st?
That's we're awaiting more clarification.
Okay.
So rock solid for sure. Sell after April 1st, and buy after April 1st. It's easy.
So to be safe, wait till after April 1st.
Because the problem is, we voted on a law, we voted on this proposition, you would think it would apply immediately. But unfortunately, it's actually in the best interest of the taxing agencies. You go from a $700,000 house to a $1.2 million house, it's better for them to make you pay taxes on 1.2. So it's, to be determined. The safe bet is April 1st and after. But again, up to March 31st, you're still covered by Prop 60 being able to downsize.
So biggest things to me are you can do it more than once. You can transfer it now 3 times, and you can do it anywhere in California. Previously, I had clients that would want to move to Sacramento, and that wasn't an option because that county did not participate.
That's right.
And so now you can move anywhere in California and any value. So more than once, anywhere in California at any value.
Yep.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Perfect.
It's awesome. And then the only other part of this is the parent to grandchild, grandparent to grandchild exclusion. This replaces Props 58 and 193. This one is going to cause some frustrations. And the reason why is previously, it didn't matter how much your house was worth. If it was your primary residence that went to your kids, no problem. Now it has to be your primary residence and it has to be their primary residence. And if the property is worth more than $1 million over your basis, then that part will be reassessed. And here's what I mean. Same example, $50,000, $100,000, you pass away, the property's worth 700 grand. Okay, if you pass away at 700 grand, that's the difference, 700 to 100, it's less than $1 million. It's not reassessed if your kids are going to live in it as a primary. If the property is being assessed taxes at $100,000 and the value is 1.2 million, well, then you're going to, the difference there is actually $100,000 over $1 million. You're going to be reassessed that. So the kind of complicated, but the bottom line is for Prop 19 to work parent to child, you've got to keep it. It has to be the primary residence of the owner and the primary residence of the person that receives it.
So just to be clear on that, because there's been some questions about that. If someone owns 2 properties, they pass away, kid inherits 2 properties, kid wants to move into one of their rental properties and make that their primary residence, that doesn't count. They have to move into the primary residence of the parents.
Yep. And they're going to look at property tax records to see
sure
which property did you have your primary residence exclusion on. It's hard to get around that. Now, the interesting thing we keep seeing is, well, what if this is my primary residence or my parents' primary residence and I inherit it and I live in it for a couple of years? Can I then turn it into a rental? Absolutely. You absolutely can do that because it's only going to be reassessed on, as part of the transfer initially.
So then you would live in it for 2 years or so, and then you'd be fine. Now, this also is going to protect the neighborhoods that have experienced children inheriting investment properties with a very low tax basis and renting them out or just leaving them, and deferred maintenance builds up and things like that. So that would help certain neighborhoods that are experiencing that.
This is not a feel good for people that have, tried to build wealth over the last 50 or 60 years and they want their kids to inherit it. It's not a feel good that's going to be reassessed.
Absolutely not.
But it's real. Because what do kids do? Look, there are always exceptions. But as a general rule, if you inherit something that you didn't work for, you're probably going to sell it. Let's call a spade a spade. I mean, it's real. And actually, it's in their best interest to sell it because when you inherit the property, you get a step up in basis, you sell it, you don't pay any taxes.
Tax free. Yep.
And you could turn around and take that money, which would be tax free, it's your money. You could buy, rental properties out of state that have higher. That is just unbelievable. I turn my phone off and it's still ringing. I can't explain it, man. Many apologies here.
No worries.
You ever seen that happen? I turned my phone off. Anyway, so you can, if you invest, if you inherit money and you inherit a property and you sell it, and then you take those proceeds and invest it out of state, I mean, you're probably going to get higher cash flow on a better property, right?
So, quick question for you. If you were in a situation where you are a parent and you own two properties and your health is declining, for example, and you want your kids to get the properties, would you suggest gifting them the property prior to February 16th? Does that help with anything?
You know, Ryan, I've spoken with so many people through December and January of this year on Prop 19. It's just mind-numbing how many people we've talked to. And of all those conversations, I've only actually found one person that would benefit. And the reason why is the young man was already managing his parents' real estate holdings. He had a great feel and understanding of how to manage the properties. And he had no intention of inheriting it and then selling it. Okay? That I believe that guy was an exception to the rule.
Sure.
Whereas it does not feel good on the parent end to know that if they don't gift the property prior to the 15th of February, that upon their demise, it will be reassessed. I mean, that sucks, right? But it's still in their kid's best interest. And what do you mean? It's in the kid's best interest to have the option to inherit the property and have the option to not pay any capital gains on it. If they want to rent it out, what happens? It's like the hard economics we don't teach people. If you raise property taxes on something, guess what? You're raising rents.
Yeah.
Like, so if the property taxes go up 12 grand a year, guess what? Rents just went up $1,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't find a ready, able, and willing renter to pay that extra $1,000 a month, it actually tells you to sell it, because then it's taken away from the ROI on the property. So,
yeah.
And then there's this is horrible. If you gift your property to your kid, tax-wise, your purchase value goes to them. So you bought it for $50,000 or $100,000 or $200,000, and it's worth $900,000 now. When you gift that property to them, your kids own it at $200,000. So that means that if they sell it, now they've got $700,000 gain. And there's always the unintended consequence of making your future ex-son-in-law 50% owner of that property.
Yeah.
Right? Because unfortunately, 50% of California marriages end in a divorce. If you gift it, you have no control over it. It's all in all, it's a bad deal.
Got it. So this affects both parent and heir pretty significantly.
Absolutely. I mean, you and I have worked on strategies over the years. Look, if you've got somebody that wants to sell their property, and they've got a long-term capital gain, they can use a 1031 exchange. They can use a section 453 deferred sales trust to defer the taxes. I'm honestly not really big on transferring pursuant to Prop 19, trying to beat February 15th. I just think that for most people, they're trying to get around the property tax increase, and then they're inadvertently hurting themselves for estate taxes, capital gains taxes, and liability.
Yep. Yeah, big changes, both beneficial and not so great. But there you have it. Anything else that we should know about this?
Here, I'll give you something. If any of your clients want a quick evaluation of the situation, we put together calculators where, I'll share these with you, or you can send me their scenario. But basically, what'd you buy your house for? What is it currently being assessed? What's the market value? And what is the replacement property if you're 55 or older? And then if you're looking at inheritance planning, now we only have, what is today, the 10th? I mean, we only got 5 days anyway.
Yeah.
Just to kind of know that would be something we could do.
Perfect. So if you are someone that's thinking about buying or have questions about your inheritance, then please feel free to reach out to me. You know, you have my information, but I'll include Jesse's info as well. Reach out to him and get your questions answered before making any decisions. Very important.
All right, sounds great, my friend. Hey, Brian, you have a great one. We'll talk.
Thanks for the time, Jesse. Take care.